Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I am covering the ArtDriver Z3 along with their stainless steel cartridge grips. This machine is from Spain and I have had it for a little over a year now. You can see that the exterior cover here is a little hazy and is showing signs of use, but this is a fully functional machine. I'm going to do a brief overview and talk a little bit about how it performs, things I like about it, and then a couple small criticisms as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to run that intro video and get this thing going. Now the Z3 falls into the direct drive type of rotaries. It does have a option here you can swap out right above the drive bar. I currently have the twist bar installed with those holes cut there, those slanted holes. I'll show you what that looks like up close. You can use either the standard direct drive chunk of plastic here on the right, or you can use the twist bar. I found they both feel fairly similar. The twist bar, according to the website, does allow for some vibration handling, allowing that to go through the drive system as opposed to just feeling that in your hand as you're tattooing. My personal experience with the dampening system here, I really didn't notice much difference. It's not extremely noticeable, I'll put it that way. So I decided to use the twist bar most of the time. I did swap over to the direct bar just a few times just to see, and I decided to stick with the twist bar. However, one of the criticisms I'll kind of offer up here, the twist bar, because those holes are cut in it, it is somewhat fragile, and when you get it directly from ArtDriver, it arrives with the twist bar installed pretty tightly. So when you go to remove that, if you want to try the other bar out, go slow, be careful, don't be rough with it because it can break. Thankfully, one did break and I was able to contact ArtDriver and they provided me with several spares. So props to them for having good customer service in that regard. Now let's talk a little bit about this stainless grip and how it worked for me. As far as clicks go, I feel like it could be improved a little bit. There's a little bit of slop here in the grips. You can kind of hear that there. Just a little bit of extra wiggle. Now, unfortunately, I've had some experiences where I was adjusting the grip here, changing the needle hang, and I would have landed maybe halfway in between the clicks. And then as I went to start tattooing and changed my angle, you could kind of feel it click into place. And believe it or not, that is actually very shocking, especially if you're running a line. So perhaps there could be some refinements made to this grip. I would like to see grips of different sizes. This is just a standard, I believe, 25 millimeter or approximately 1 inch wide grip. I would like to see a little bit chunkier grips come out in stainless steel. I love stainless steel as opposed to aluminum grips, just for the ergonomics of everything. So those would be a couple brief recommendations regarding the grips here. Let's talk about power, voltages, and how it runs. It says on the website that it can be run anywhere from 8 to 14 volts. However, in my experience, I'm gonna get it started for you here. The low end that it will push cartridges for me, and obviously a lot of that is dependent on the amount of tension in your cartridge, but 9 volts is where I sit on the low end for doing dots and slower work. And I'll get that started here at 9 volts and kind of bring it all the way up to 14. I'll also mention 14 is a little high. I wouldn't really ever run this machine that fast, but we'll bring it all the way up to the high end just so you can hear what that sounds like. There's 10 volts right there. 12, 13. It starts to get fairly noisy, I would say. And then lastly, 14 volts. And I would say that's hauling pretty hard there. I would never really use this machine at that speed. I tend to sit right around the neighborhood of 10 to 13 volts. That's just kind of the sweet spot for my use. I'll mention here, you might have heard in the beginning when this started up, it kind of has a delayed startup, which I believe is meant to protect the motor. I'm not sure entirely, but I'll let you listen and see what that does. You can kind of hear the click of the foot pedal engage, and then it starts. That's kind of a cool feature. It's nice that it does back the needle back into the cartridge, so it's got a safety feature there so you don't end up with the needles hanging out. That is very important. With regards of the grip fitting to the machine, you just want to barely be able to see the top of that grip there. Again, you have a little bit of a range of adjustment, but you just unscrew the grip like so. And as I'm doing this, I am going to mention I don't really like this type of grip, especially if you are choosing to wrap your entire machine in plastic. It's kind of slippery. I feel like something else could be done, maybe like a twisted vise on the side. That's just my preference, but you just kind of unscrew it like so. And you want to make sure that you have your grip not too high. If you get it up too high inside of the machine, you'll hear some knocking because the bar is actually slapping the sides of the top of the tube, and you don't want that because you'll cause a lot of unnecessary wear on the machine and on the tube. I'll also say a minor criticism here. I wish that they had a marker, like a little notch or something, just showing where your cartridge will lie, so you have it set up straight from the get-go, if that makes sense. You want it lined up with the center of the machine. So that, for example, would be way too high. You want to bring it down to about right there, and then twist it. Obviously, it's kind of a balancing act, just holding the grip and twisting it in place. But I'll fire it up and see. So you do have quite a range of travel either direction with this grip, so that's very nice. I definitely appreciate that. Overall, with regards to ergonomics, the stainless steel grip does help with some of the back weight of the machine. I do wish you had a little bit more mass on the front to kind of help negate some of that pull. Also, I'll mention that this machine is fairly long when assembled. I feel like if you could perhaps shrink it up, maybe decrease some of the gap with the grip, that would make it feel not so long and kind of bring that center of gravity down. So, very minor complaint. Obviously, you can get used to any machine over the length of your career or whatever. But just as far as first impressions go, I did notice and remember that it did feel minorly back heavy. I feel like the center of gravity sits truly maybe just a little bit back of center. So keep that in mind. Now, collectively, I feel like this is a solid machine with a couple minor issues that could be refined in the future. I made a little bit of a blunder swapping out the twist bar for the rigid bar. If you choose to swap that out, please be careful, just because it is very tight. Like I've said earlier in the video, I'm not a big fan of the vise. I wish maybe it had a little bit more of like a flange or something coming off so you could get more grip if the machine is wrapped in plastic. The grip itself does need maybe a little bit of fine-tuning just to make sure those clicks have less slack and wobble in between. And I'd also like to see more variations on grip sizes there. And I would like to see the machine maybe shortened slightly so you could move that balance and center of gravity forward. Overall, it is very well made. You can definitely see that ArtDriver cares about the machines and products it puts out, and it's a very well established and polished company. I like the packaging, everything feels great, and after a year of use, this is still a contender in the tattooing world. So feel free to like or subscribe, leave me a comment, an opinion. I definitely appreciate it. I try to make a few machine reviews a year and just share some of my experience. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.